this module, we will discuss the use of non-combustible insulation to assist in improving the acoustic or thermal performance of a wall or floor ceiling system. In this presentation, we will examine the NCC specifications for non-combustible insulation, the different types of insulation products available, particularly those which have been tested to provide formal evidence that they are non-combustible. And finally, we will look at the issues around potential product substitution and proper installation. Insulation is commonly utilised in wall or floor ceiling cavities to improve the acoustic performance of the different systems, and in colder or hot climates to improve thermal performance. When cavity insulation is used within a deemed to satisfy fire-rated wall and or floor element, then there is a requirement that it be non-combustible. If a combustible cavity insulation were to be used, and in the low probability event of the fire-grade plasterboard being breached, then this non-combustible material could facilitate the ignition of cavity fires and the rapid spread of fire through cavities. This is definitely an unacceptable situation. Accordingly, the NCC stipulates under Part C1 Fire Resistance and Stability, Clause C1.13 Fire Protected Timber subsection D, that for fire protected timber, any insulation installed in the cavity of a timber building element required to have an FRL has to be non-combustible. There are a wide range of insulation products available in the market that are made from different materials. These include cellulose insulation, which can be made using 70 to 80% recycled paper. By its nature, these products are naturally flammable. Polyester insulation, which is manufactured out of polyester fibres, including recycled plastic bottles. It is generally not affected by moisture, nor does it shrink. Fiberglass or glass wool, which is made up from 70% recycled glass. The raw materials, glass and sand, melted at temperatures around 1500 degrees Celsius. It is one of the most popular insulation materials, being easy to install, cheap, and one of the most resistant materials to fire. And mineral wool, or rock wool as it is often called, which is made from volcanic rock melted at high temperatures and spun into a mat or bat of fine fibres. It typically only burns at high temperatures, often in excess of 850 degrees Celsius, and acts as a fire barrier for roof walls or floors. Typically, the flammability of an insulation product depends on the level of organic content, with inorganic materials generally less flammable. It needs to be clearly noted that not all insulation products are non-combustible. In addition to polyester, some mineral fibre and glass wool insulation systems are combustible. Therefore, the evidence of suitability of each product needs to be checked to confirm that the specific product is non-combustible and suitable for use. Typical solutions for non-combustible insulation include mineral fibre or glass wool insulation with very low organic binder contents, typically around 5 to 10% by mass. It is also important that any products utilised have been compliance tested to AS 1530.1 and that evidence of suitability in the form of a current report from a NADA registered testing authority is available. Product manufacturers will be able to supply this information. Particular care also needs to be taken around product substitution. It needs to be clearly noted that products which only have international test method certificates, which are not called up in the NCC, are not appropriate. To help ensure that a product is not substituted on site with an inferior non-compliant product, a full specification of the product should be provided, clearly stating the product's name and identification marking, and then this needs to be followed up with adequate on-site supervision. Correct installation is also very important, particularly where downlights or electrical fans might be involved. Minimum insulation clearances around downlights are required for all types of insulation. A preferred approach, as illustrated here, would be to use a false ceiling, where the non-combustible acoustic insulation is placed in the floor cavity, above the fire-rated ceiling and away from downlights and fans. So in summary, all cavity insulation in mid-rise timber buildings under the DTS provisions must be non-combustible. It needs, though, to be clearly noted that not all insulation is non-combustible. Typical non-combustible solutions include mineral fibre or glass wool insulation. Manufacturers should provide evidence of suitability reports to AS 1530.1 from a NADA registered testing authority for their respective products. It must be clearly stressed that on-site product substitution that might lead to the use of non-compliant products is strictly not permitted. Any questions on product suitability needs to be referred to the responsible project design team member for consideration and authorisation. Finally, when floor ceiling system insulation is used, minimum clearances must be maintained around downlights and fans. The preferred approach, however, would be the use of a false ceiling, where the non-combustible insulation could be placed in the floor cavity, above the fire-rated ceiling and away from downlights and fans. For further information on wood and wood products, visit woodsolutions.com.au, the website for wood.